This should be played at high volume, preferably in a residential area.
It's the Dirty Laundry Game-Worn Hockey Podcast.
We're old school, right? We wash our own dirty laundry.
The name on the front is a hell of a lot more important than the one on the back.
I refuse to be judged by a grown man wearing a hockey jersey.
Game on!
Game on!
All right, we are back. It's Sunday morning. The doors aren't officially quite open yet, but we have Rinkside Reserve. Nick Gay, who Wade and I I believe have become friends with.
Bothered?
Yeah, annoyed. We'll get the thesaurus out of all the ways that we talk to Nick.
Yeah, no.
But wanted to bring you on and you teamed with us last year, came out here and people loved it. You're back this year and holy cow.
Yeah.
As you opened up your magic bag and started laying jerseys out.
The floodgates have opened.
We thought we had Blues history of people displaying and selling, and then you bring Blues history as well. So welcome, Nick.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. We're excited to be here for year two.
Yeah,
Hey, what? Let me have you put that a little bit closer. Sorry about that.
Coach, trim it.
Yeah, he's sitting across the room from where the microphone is.
Long legs.
So tell us about Rinkside Reserve a little bit first.
Yeah, so this is the third year of it, I think. We were doing our basement sales on our GiveSmart website, which was great, but kind of realizing that we were outgrowing it a little bit in that sense, and we'd like to keep that space more for premium auction items. I started kind of looking around the league. I'll be honest, I really modeled it off LA Kings, their game website and kind of how they did it. To an extent, theirs seems almost flip-flopped as ours, where our premium items go on GiveSmart, their premium items go on their LA Kings Game Use website. But kind of modeled that and how they had it set up with sticks and everything, and felt like that'd be a good place for us to essentially have what we call a year-round basement sale. So there's always stuff ready for people to buy. Obviously more so during the season than the summer. But
it's a game changer for all of us collectors, because like you said, it's year-round. I know that I'm probably not the only one that has my Friday morning 9:55 alarm set weekly. So it's great, and it just, the access that you give collectors is fantastic, especially when we look around the league at like Chicago and some of the other teams that really have limited fan collector access. You guys do a great job, so we're so thankful to have you guys and what you do, so thanks.
No, I appreciate it. And I mean, obviously, I don't know if Tyler's in camera shot right now or not, but
he's hiding in the corner.
Smart man. Having him to help me this year and really, take his experience with the MLB the last couple of years and kind of help us grow the program. So I think where it's at is great, but I think it's only going to continue to grow.
Now, we know a little bit about your background, but coming into this and taking this position, did you know much about the game-worn hobby or the collectible hobby in general before you came here and did this?
Not at all. I was actually a youth hockey fan development intern, and our community team had kind of started putting together, our auctions and stuff, and realizing, hey, this is stuff that we need to get out. And so it grew into a part-time position, which I was only a junior in college at the time when I got into that.
Wow.
Yeah. So also happened to be the cup year, so good timing.
Yeah, just a bit of good timing.
Yeah. I did that 2 years part-time. Didn't know anything about it, but not even just as my, learn about myself as a human, but just as in my professional career, those 2 years part-time doing this, it was very much so I was trusted to go with it kind of as what I thought was best. I was keeping tabs on what other teams were doing, trying to learn from other teams. I was making relationships like the relationships I have with you guys and other folks that are here today, that I've learned from over the last 6 years. So,
and we appreciate that, because as we got to know you and seeing the program go. And again, we pay attention across the league, what teams are doing, what seems to work, what seems to be a disaster. And you've been very receptive and just bouncing back and forth on it. And it's great to have, I guess, open door policy, for lack of a better word, is reach out. Hey, we've seen this, or collect. And I know you're not just focusing on the collectors, it's fans in general, but making sure that stuff's documented well and tracked and tagged properly. So the future, as you walk around this room and you're picking up jerseys that are 20 years old, you see set tags in them, you see info, the stuff that you brought, and just comparing different tagging in what's on the table. Yeah. I mean, there's a rookie Perron that's a one period that the equipment guy wrote on the tag, what game it was worn and what
it's got
period it was worn
on it. I mean,
it's
incredible.
And then another one we found as we were looking through, there's a sticky note that's taped inside the neck of what year and what set it was, because at the time they didn't have set tag in that particular jersey.
Pretty incredible. you've had to have gotten it had to be interesting coming into this, like you said, kind of fresh, and then meeting all the personalities in this. I think that's the one thing that the hobby I think is full of, is some interesting personalities. And I think it's fun to watch how people interact and stuff, and the way you've interacted with everybody has been really cool, because you've definitely like figured out a way to like kind of put up with us. I always tell you, so
I would call it putting up. No, I definitely appreciate
that
friendships,
stuff.
but-
Like when it comes to the tagging and when we ask the crazy questions, I'm sure that being fresh into it at the start was probably like, oh my God, like what are these guys thinking? Like, but it was always been gracious. The guys that came before you did the same, but you've just taken it to another level. And having Tyler and the whole thing, it's really cool. So thanks.
No, I appreciate it. Like I said,
Yeah.
I definitely try, and like you said, an open door policy. Because I don't know everything. I like to think I do, but I'm fully aware of the fact I don't.
Yeah.
I think maybe between me and Tyler, we maybe do actually know everything now, which is great. But it's the saying is adapt or die, right?
Yeah.
It's even like the set tags with this year, putting the barcodes on them to save us a step in the long run of having them game ready to go.
Yeah, bringing that today. I mean, you said you do listen to the show some, so for us, like first thing you did is you pull those things out, and I'm of course dorking out and taking pictures and like evaluating the whole thing. So it was really cool. Now we've talked about off this. You collect a little bit, not game used jerseys, but you are a collector, so that collector gene is in you. So that's a cool part of. I always say that everybody collects something, and whether or not it's whatever. So that's neat that you have a hobby as well.
Do you want to say what you collect? If you don't,
I don't care. I buy Pokemon cards, and I will do it proudly. It doesn't matter who's around. Or
and what's funny is one of the collectors in here, that's one of his side projects. He does Pokemon. So we'll have to get you two hooked up for that too.
Sure.
But one thing that I really appreciate you said too is when you started getting into this is you went and looked at other programs.
Yeah.
What looks good, what doesn't look so good, and that's smart, because we've seen some of the teams just start something, either fail or do it, and we think we know so much better, and it turns out to be a cluster.
Yeah. And I don't maybe this is selfish. I don't, but that's not something I want, right? Like you guys see this stuff, and right now it's associated with my name, more than likely soon it's gonna be associated with Tyler's name. Neither of us want that. We want people to see our auction, see Rinkside, and be like, wow, that is awesome. This is something we're coming back to. We're gonna bid on this again. So we always want to make sure it's top of the line. Hopefully those other teams are doing the same thing I was doing and watching other teams' auctions and everything.
That's an important part of it.
And we've seen some of that grow too, even just with the jersey boxes, the helmet boxes and stuff. Because initially it was just, we'd pick them up if we went to the rink. You had them set up in a nice bag or whatnot, but then you guys started mailing out, or with just the little aesthetic things like that really make a difference.
What Nick doesn't know is I actually have like 40 of those boxes in my truck that I'm going to give to him. So I hope you brought a big car because I'm over
recycling it back.
Unfold them and put them in Tyler's car.
So in doing this, and again, you get to touch Blues history really, especially with the cup and other things. What's kind of the neatest piece that you've either done an auction or had it come across your desk with doing stuff,
or uncovered?
Yeah. Any of the above. What's kind of the coolest stuff you found?
I mean, obviously everything from the cup run, right? Like that start to finish, I still think about it and it seems surreal and doesn't actually feel like it happened, just the way the year was going. But every time we do our Hall of Fame and we're pulling those big guys out, the Turgeons, the Prongers, all that, those are all really cool to see. I remember watching Pronger when he was in Philly, actually, during the 2010 Cup run. A lot of those guys I remember watching as a kid, but truthfully, probably the coolest for me was the Kairu Winter Classic jersey, where he's had 4 points in the second period. It worked out that we got the second period jerseys, and now it's framed on this suite level at Enterprise Center.
I actually have another period from that game, so I've always been kind of bummed that I have the Kairu from that game, but I have the wrong damn period.
But at least you know where it is.
Exactly.
It's incredible.
And it was us that got it, right? Us are a collector versus a different entity.
Now, are there many other jerseys like that around? And if you can't answer it, I totally get it. Around Enterprise in suites or things like that, of special jerseys like that you guys have come across, or historical things?
That's the only one off the top of my head. There might be one or two more different ones, but that is the most recent one for sure, and the only one I can think of.
The only other one I can think of that's hanging is there is the Bob Plager in the hallway up in the suite run. There's a Bob Plager up there, and I've literally tried to figure out a way to bring in like an electric screwdriver and maybe take that home, but I don't want Nick chasing me through the parking lot. He's very big, and I got enough problems.
Same one they have in the locker room. Is that a different one? Than
They may have moved it. Yeah, there used to be one. So like if you go out where the suites are by the Jack Daniels Center thing, there used to be one in the hallway there. I'd have to look this year and see if it's still there, but that's one that's pretty cool. And I mean, that's the thing is, we're always wondering what you guys still have. And, for years there was the rumor of the closet list that popped up. And one of your predecessors said, it told me previously, like, oh yeah, that's kind of real. And so like, we're always like, when you pop stuff up, we're always like, oh, we wonder what else is hiding,
Well, all I can say is stay tuned because it only gets better.
But I will say, since you've come on board and not just, for lack of a better word, kissing your butt, since you've come on board and looking at it in past, yes,
Doc 21.
but we've been able to see and so much more, call it archive stuff, has hit the market because of how you're running a program or what you're doing. Even the clown jerseys that are stripped or whatever, but just the fact that they're out there and not just hanging in a closet somewhere has really opened collectors that haven't had the opportunity to get those or other jerseys before, and it's been refreshing. It really has,
and that's what we want, right? Like, it's great, the stuff we're holding for a reason, obviously, but like the blank clown jerseys, stuff like that stuff that should be in collectors' hands.
So we appreciate it.
If we can get those out to people, we do our best.
And it's cool because I mean, the number of the strip name bar ones that we've gotten, and we've been able to research who they belong to, and in some cases photo match or whatever else, makes it fun because, okay, why did the Blues originally take this nameplate off? Did they recycle it for somebody else? But just all of those things, the training camp ones that you sold, the straight stripe training camp, everybody had a ball getting those because of who they were.
Absolutely.
I mean, some of the biggest names of the Blues or the favorite players at that time. So it's been so neat to see history come out and
coming out of the closets and out of the archives. And, you said it best by saying like, hey, you're allowing that stuff to kind of end up where we like it to belong to. And that's with fans and collectors. And it's cool. So it's fun to see what's coming next. And like I said, we're always waiting for the next drop. So
now is it, and again, if you can't speak to this, I totally get it. With the CBA that went into effect a couple years ago with the players getting their jerseys, does that seem to affect some of the things? I remember the one story because I liked him at the time and was hoping it would hit the market, but you even told me he took it, was Tyler Bozak with his 1000th game jersey. Is how does some of that stuff work for you? Or is it just the equipment guys say, hey, he kept this because of reason X?
It's a little bit of both. We kind of tag team it with the equipment guys. We're very fortunate with Rich Matthews and his team that they are so easy to work with and fun to work with, honestly. If a guy's playing his 1000th game, we try and be ahead of it. Like Shen's is scheduled for, I think, March 1st, assuming everything goes well between now and then. So more than likely what'll happen is we'll have an extra jersey or two made, and we'll do it almost like they do the Winter Classic, where it's one for the first, one for the second, one for the third. He'll get one, team will get one, family will get one, or something like that. But we try and have a second or third one ready so that we can share them. The guys are usually very receptive to that. So I don't know how much the CBA plays into that one.
And because some teams have always been really good about making sure the players get jerseys or for special things like that. And other teams, as we've talked to, are won't do anything for them, which is ridiculous.
The best way to put it with stuff like that is players get first tips.
And that's how it should be.
100%. You played 1,000 games in the NHL, something most people don't do. You absolutely should get that jersey.
And no fan, no collector's ever going to knock that at all. But it's great to hear that you guys have that relationship, and it's got to be a team effort because they're starting with all the stuff and tracking it, everything else, and now it's coming to you. And you started again showing us with for this season is the set tag having the actual barcode on it for the game tracking and that. And it has been nice for non-Blues collectors. When we get the jerseys, there was a barcode sticker in the neck, and when you get certificate, you also get the game log, which is really nice to go back and look up stats and things like that.
Really nice addition that you guys did the last couple of years, and it's really been fun for collectors to say, hey, I know exactly when this was used. It's not a guess anymore.
No, it's awesome. Something actually, quick reveal. that we're doing this year, and I got to figure out how we're going to put it on the COA or on the game log, but we're tracking every guy's stats through every game.
Oh,
that
wow.
that jersey
Wow.
wore. And so when you get Holloway's set 1 heritage jersey, say he doesn't score another goal in it, but it's going to say, scored 1 goal in this jersey or however many.
That's
So
awesome.
each set, and again, I don't know where exactly we're going to put it on I don't know if we have room on the game log.
Yeah.
I don't know how much access we have to essentially edit that, but there we are going to find a place for it, and it'll be in the item description and stuff, so you guys will know exactly points and all that.
Now, is that game log, and again, in trying to insider stuff, if you can't, I get it. Is that coming off that tracking tag in the inside the jersey, or is it the game log tracked from the scan and the barcode?
The stats,
how the game logs come now.
Got you. So the company that originally we got the barcodes from,
Mhm.
it's called Helmet Tracker. A lot of teams use it.
Okay.
They have all the software, so we scan it, upload it upload each jersey, and then it gets tracked, and then we print it from their
Very
website.
Cool.
But that's, I mean, everybody loves stats. Everybody, and so often in the older stuff, people will go to the NHL
And try to figure
website
it out.
is great for tracking the game logs and stuff. But just getting it, open the box, and wow, there it is. That's awesome that you guys are continuing to evolve what you're doing, what you're giving the fans, because it shows that you care, and we appreciate that. And like I said, we've talked to guys across the league that have dealt with other teams, and it's like, hey, here's the jersey. Yeah, there's the LOA, and it says Warner issued, and that's all they have, and they got to do everything else.
Yeah.
But it's awesome that you continue to evolve this and make it better for everybody.
Yeah. So, well, it's just, we're thankful for what you guys do. Thankful for you guys attending the expo. I mean, on my behalf and everybody else, I know we're all excited when you do it, and just thanks for being such a great part of our community.
And I remember last year when he walked in the door, your eyes just got huge seeing this room. 'Cause it's the first, I mean, we've talked to you at length about, the collectors this, and here's the kind of stuff out there. But until you come in a room like this and see that the history is insane.
It's pretty crazy.
So if you could own any game worn jersey from anywhere, who would it be? I think I know the answer from stuff earlier. But
Yeah. Honestly, probably Joe Sakic jersey from 2001.
Wow.
Or
That's a good one.
Milan Hajduk rookie jersey when he won the Rocket Richard.
That's pretty cool.
So,
and again, you work for the Blues, whatever. I don't care. It's because you grew up around hockey and that stuff, and that's
who you collect and who
yeah.
you like, and it's your fanhood. I'm sure working for the organization, your fanhood has come our way, but in the same sense, your allegiance to your previous, what you grew up with is always going to be there, and that's appreciated. I think it's cool.
It's in the back of my mind, but I'm Blues till I die.
We love it.
I will say that, again,
we're all going to get tattoos after the show.
right.
All right, let's go.
So, in case for anybody that's outside of Blues territory or doesn't know everything about Rinkside, what's the website and how can they find out about the upcoming auctions?
Yeah, absolutely. So rinksidereserve.com, exactly how it sounds. Fortunately, it is a lot, but pretty easy. When you get onto the website, it's going to give you a pop-up for email notifications. So make sure you put your email in there. For our auctions, we do an auction dang near every game day. It's blues.givesmart.com. Again, exactly how it sounds.
Yep.
Or you can text the word blues to 76278. And you'll follow the prompts and create an account. And you'll get text notifications every time our auctions go live.
And you can even get it at the bottom of the Rinkside Reserve page.
Yes.
Sometimes I forget on my phone and just go from the website.
Yeah,
So,
we do have a link down there as well.
yeah. So Nick, good luck. Thank you for everything you brought today. It's amazing to see and that you believe in us enough to bring the kind of stuff that you did. And good luck with the rest of the season. I know we'll see you at games.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I appreciate you guys having us here and having me on the podcast. So it's been a long time coming.
Yeah.
We've asked a couple times.
We've annoyed him a lot of times.
No.
But again, Nick, thank you so much with everything, and especially giving up your Sunday to come out here and do this. It does mean a lot. So now we're going to sell these soon.
See you guys.
We're back at the expo, and our gracious signer for the Sunday portion of this, Dwight Schofield. You've had a little bit of a career, haven't you, sir?
Career as a hockey player. Yeah, I played pro for 12 years, and the better part of 5 years were spent in the NHL. Yep, not bad.
So how did you get started in hockey? I'm assuming growing up as a kid playing up in Canada.
Actually, I'm from Boston.
Okay, I'm sorry. I was thinking you were
okay.
Canadian.
No. I did go to school in Canada for 4 years, but No, I was growing up in Boston, and hockey wasn't really big there at the time. But
Funny how it's big there now.
yeah, it's big now. Yeah, well, it got big just after I started playing, but because they got Bobby Orr, the Bruins got Bobby Orr just after I started playing and became
Funny
really
that kind of blew things up just a tad.
Yeah, it did.
He had a
Yeah.
few good games.
Yeah, he Boston became huge for it was a real hockey crazy city. But getting back to how I got started playing, my dad had this friend who was a hockey coach for the local youth hockey program, and he just suggested to my dad that he get me and my older brother signed up. You know, he asked my dad if he'd like us to, maybe like to give us a try, let us have a try playing hockey. And so we did that. I was 7 at the time, and my older brother was 10. And we became a hockey nuts family, obsessed with hockey at that point. My 2 younger brothers played. And yeah, so away we went.
So previous to them asking if you wanted to play, did you have much interest? Did you follow hockey at all? Or it was just like, no, that'd be kind of fun to try.
No, I was 7 years old. And like I said, hockey wasn't really big back then. So no, I don't even know if I even knew what hockey was much, because it wasn't big at the time.
It seems like you learned pretty fast because after a couple years in the Quebec Major Junior, you're in the NHL. Were you
actually
drafted?
I played in the OHL.
Oh, okay.
London, yeah, in the OHL for 2 years. Yeah.
We'll have to let Wikipedia know your stats are wrong.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. They got that is the Quebec League.
They have, oh, sorry, OMJHL. I read that wrong. My eyes are terrible this morning.
Okay.
So were you actually drafted by one of the NHL teams, or was
I got drafted by Detroit.
Okay.
And spent I guess 3 years in their organization, and then got released. So I bounced around from organization to organization before I finally ended up in St. Louis.
I say it looks like, looking through the thing, a lot of your time were Midwest teams.
Yeah.
Kansas City Red Wings, Kalamazoo, Fort Wayne, Dayton, Milwaukee. So
Right.
a good mix. And how did you end up? I see you ended up with the Canadians, and how did you end up over at St. Louis, or to this wonderful city we're in now?
I was playing in Montreal's organization for 2 years. And then when I went back to training camp in the fall of '83 with them, they had a waiver draft in the NHL back then, just before the season started, where each team could protect, I think, like 18 players. And and then they had a draft of all the unprotected players.
Okay.
And so anyway, I was unprotected by the Canadians in that draft. And so St. Louis picked me up in the draft there.
And have you, I mean, of course, being in the league, but did you know any guys on the team or things like that? Were you surprised to be picked up by them?
Well, I mean, you have no way of knowing when you're left unprotected. Naturally, you're hoping you're going to get picked up by somebody.
Sure.
But you have no way of knowing what that team will be. And to answer your question, did I know anybody here? The only person that I knew was Rob Ramage that I can remember, because he and I had played together in London in junior.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. Of course, all the Blues fans know Ramage very well, and
Sure.
and war number 5 in that.
Yeah.
So going through some of the stats in that, you have a lot of penalty minutes.
Yeah.
Did you start out when you were playing hockey thinking that that's what you would do, or is it just kind of came as part of playing?
Not at all. When I was growing up, I was just when you're a little kid, I don't think anybody thinks about fighting. I mean, you can't fight when you're playing minor hockey up until you get to junior hockey, I guess. But no, I was a finesse player and really had no interest in being a tough guy. And actually, when I got to London, there was a time or two when I had to fight. I wasn't looking to fight, but it just came my way, and I couldn't avoid fighting. Somebody wants to fight you, you got to go. So I ended up doing pretty well against a couple of guys who are considered pretty tough. And so in London, they expected it of me a little bit. And then next year I went to Kalamazoo, and I was just down there to play. You know, I got drafted by Detroit's and
Sure.
Kalamazoo, Detroit's farm team, and I was down there, and that whole team was nothing but a goon squad. We had, I think I had, I don't know how many. I had a lot of penalty minutes, and was still about
180 at least from this stat page for
yeah.
the 76, 77.
Right, and I wasn't even close to the top. But I guess
Wow.
I just had to. Well, the international league, it's a pretty tough league, and you're going to have to fight just to survive there, you know.
Sure.
And so that, and the fact that the team had a lot of guys that like to fight, you know, they kind of expected you to follow suit, you know. And then I don't know. I guess so. At that point, I had never really made it a point to fight
to seek
satisfy.
that out, and just came.
But then there was a point when I had gone from the International League up to the Central League. The International League is the number 2. It's 2 leagues down from the NHL. Went up to the Central League, which is one league away from the NHL. And then I get sent back down to Kalamazoo again. And I'm thinking, oh, man. And my dad suggested that I start playing tough because he said that there's a lot of teams out there looking for big, tough defensemen. So at that point, I think I made a point to play tougher than I had been in the past, you know, try to add it to my repertoire. So, yeah, I guess you could say at that point, yeah, I kind of made an effort to do that.
And it's funny because looking through the 77, 78 stats, I have to laugh because it shows you had 3 games at Kalamazoo with 21 penalty minutes in 3 games.
Oh,
so
really? Oh, wow, man.
That's some good stats there. And then, of course,
man, that's a lot of penalty minutes, man.
Right, for a short run, and then the Kalamazoo
7 minutes a game. Oh, yeah.
So once you got to St. Louis, what was it like in St. Louis at that time?
I would say there was, the team was still here, and people were pretty glad that it was because they were thinking of folding the year before. The year before that is when Ross and Purina decided they didn't want to be in the hockey business.
Could be going to Saskatoon.
They were hoping to sell the team to some guy by the name of Bill Hunter from Saskatoon. That deal fell through. And I think at that point, when that fell through, they decided they were going to fold the team. They didn't draft in the NHL draft in the summer. So all of a sudden, Harry Ernest, this successful businessman from Western Canada, bought the team and kept him here. And so I think it was just a bit of a relief from all the hockey fans who had been hockey fans of the Blues over the years, just having them here. And
oh, sure. Especially you started out when the team was going far in the playoffs in the first couple of years and having a good run and had a hell of a fan base, by what I understand, and then almost get the rug pulled out from underneath you.
Yeah. Well, they had been successful for a while, but I think they became like back in the when the Solomons owned the team. I guess hockey was the thing in town, and they had good teams back then, but then the teams became less successful. And I think when that happened, the fans really started dropping off. And that's why they didn't want to operate Ross and Purina didn't want to operate the team anymore, because when you're getting 4,000 fans a game, you're probably not making a whole lot of money.
Sure. Yeah. You put that into other things. So after St. Louis, you went between the capital, went around, just how was the NHL at that time compared to what it is today?
I would say when I watch the NHL now, I'm just blown away by how good these guys are. These guys are so talented. It just blows my mind. Way more talented than we were. You had a few guys on every team that just had unbelievable skills. They could skate and, do all this stuff. And you had a few guys that were enforcers that maybe, they weren't the best players, the most talented, but now it seems like you look at an NHL team, everybody's pretty talented, and those guys that are enforcers that aren't that skilled, they're fewer and farther between.
For sure. And talking yesterday with Mike Zuka on this too, is you see the older pictures of the locker rooms and stuff, and the guys smoking cigarettes in between the period or after the game, and
stuff. Yeah.
Or you come into camp and you've got to get to shape to start the season, and now you're expected to be training all year round.
You
And
got to be in shape when you get there, right?
It's got to be such a different thing.
That's
So
huge. Yeah, it's way different.
so get into the our side here with the game worn collecting and stuff like that. What's it feel like to walk in a room like this and see all the different years of hockey history, not even just St. Louis?
Well, that's pretty neat. I mean, one of the first things I saw was a Ray Bork jersey there, and I grew up in Boston, like I said, and seeing a Bruins jersey, a Ray Bork jersey is pretty neat. Mind you, Ray Bork wasn't somebody that I watched as a kid because he's about my age.
Sure.
But even so, I see some stuff from. It's pretty cool. I don't know. I just like all the different colors and designs and stuff. I'd say I'm a pretty artistic person, and I just like all the really attractive jerseys, and you get a bit nostalgic too, seeing some of the names of people from the past. Yeah, it's pretty neat. I'm amazed at how many jerseys they've got here. It's a pretty impressive collection.
Yeah, and the runs of years, like you said, with Bork, and there's some Roenick stuff from
Right.
the 90s and even older than that, and the Blackhawk stuff we have
Right
and
on.
everything, and jerseys of guys you may have skated against even
Right.
in some cases. Now, do you own any of your gear or jerseys?
No, not really. I mean, I have a Kalamazoo Wings uniform from long ago, which is of course one of the teams I played in the minors. And the only reason I have that is because all my equipment got stolen one time, and so I called my buddy Terry Roof, who was the trainer up there at the time, and asked him if he could help me out and
Oh, wow.
help me to get some equipment, replace the stuff that got stolen. Of course, Terry Roof ended up down here for the Blues.
That was
which
convenient,
means-
wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, I actually put in the good word for him when I heard that they were looking for the Blues were looking for a new trainer. I told him that he was a very good trainer, and so he came down here. But getting back to your question, did I take my jerseys with me as far or anything like that? As far as I know, back when I was playing, if you left a team for whatever reason, get traded, cut, whatever, the only thing that you took was 2 dozen sticks and your skates. And if you had something that was personal, like a mouth guard or a knee brace, you took that with you. But other than that, you didn't take your jersey with you or anything.
And it's crazy how you now, I know when the guys leave for the summer, the equipment guys make sure they have them loaded up with every piece of equipment they'll need or whatnot. And back then too, is the Blues, like a lot of other teams, like you said, especially if you left in the middle of the year, they're recycling that jersey and putting the nameplate on for
Right.
somebody else.
Right on.
So it could be 2 or 3 other guys end up wearing that jersey.
Right. For sure. Yeah. Yeah. I think, go ahead.
No, they say you're fine.
Yeah, I think before I was number 21, and when I came here, Mike Zook left, and he was number 21 before me, and so I think he was wearing it one day, and the next day he's gone, and I'm here, and I'm wearing it.
Save the Blues some money there.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming I know why you have the nickname that you do, but when did you get the nickname of Skonan the Barbarian?
You know what? Actually, I thought that up myself, and it's not like I
Even
said,
better.
hey, yeah, it's not like I said, hey, everybody call me Skonan, but after my first year in St. Louis here, the movie Conan the Barbarian came.
Oh,
out. I think
yes.
that's when it was. And I was at the gym, and I was doing some heavy squats. We're about to get ready to do some heavy squats, and somebody came walking by and said, hey, you better be Conan the Barbarian if you're going to lift that weight. And I said, I'll do you one better. I'll be Conan the Barbarian. And so anyway, I formed a company for the sake of improving the taxation, so improving my financial situation, and getting taxed at a lower rate. And so I just named the company Skonan Investments Corporation. And so anyway, I got some mail at the rank one time. It came down to the dressing room, and somebody said, who's Skonan Investments Corporation? And I said, well, that's me. So anyway, that was here in St. Louis, and once that happened, everybody started calling me Skonan.
But that's a great story, because it's not a typical, oh, I did this, or like you said with the movie, it makes perfect sense. But in your case, coming up with it yourself, I think is the best thing.
Yeah, I thought it'd be a good name for a company.
Oh, for sure. Well, we appreciate your time and again coming out here and supporting the expo and getting to see see the crazy history and being part of the alumni in St. Louis. I have interactions with them with fantasy camps and other things. And it's great to talk to all you guys and hear the stories that the fans don't hear.
Yeah, you talk to people and you get some behind the scenes stuff, and it's a lot of times it's pretty interesting.
Oh yeah. And with a level of hockey was more grinding, and the travel wasn't private planes and all this stuff.
Yeah,
it
right.
was much rougher and took a toll on you guys.
Well, you know what? When I look back on my days in the NHL, I wouldn't describe it as taking a toll on the travel, taking a toll on me, because I spent 7 years in the minors.
Oh, it's
getting
true.
here. Okay. And you know what? There is no plane ride that's going to take a toll on a guy that's spent 7 years being in the minors, spending a lot of the time traveling in a bus. I remember when I was playing in Baltimore, we played in Newmarket. This is in the American League, and Newmarket is like just north of Toronto.
Okay.
And so when we played a game up in Newmarket, and we bussed back to Baltimore, and I think it was like 15 hours overnight.
Oh, wow.
So, you know, I mean, the worst trip we would have had flying would have been maybe a 5-6 hour flight from, well, wouldn't in St. Louis, it'd be a 4 hour flight. So not a big deal.
But hey, you weathered that, ended up in the NHL and had a great career. And it's great to have you down here as alumni and be in the Midwest and support everything you do with the St. Louis net area. But Dwight, thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome. I enjoyed it.
Appreciate it.
Okay, man.
As we roll through Sunday and some of the packing up starts and the group photo was taken, we have Brian Clifford. Oh wait, not Brian Clifford, but the great other Clifford who collects, does have a Brian Clifford jersey on there. How we doing after a 2-day show and traveling?
It was awesome. I mean, it's fun to meet up with all you guys every year and come down and see. I mean, there's so much to see here. So many great friends that we made, over the year, and see. It's nice to come together and see everybody and make some trades and talk about jerseys and buy a few things along the way.
Oh yeah. And your setup, even showing in the background of the video that we're taking, is killer. I mean, you talked about it. We're joking about it, how you did trial runs at home to see how things would lay out and stuff. That's awesome though, because you walk in and everybody sees that first and goes, holy shit, what kind of setup that is. And you had Blues and you got Vegas and Buffalo. How much time does it take you to plan to get ready?
I probably started at least a month before. And I guess the background of it is when I coached hockey in high school, I always like to do displays for the kids. And I'd put up jerseys and pictures of the kids and different things. So
Making them feel special.
I mean, I guess to me, the best part of the shows is meeting the people and those things, but I enjoy doing the setups, which probably is the hardest part for most people, and the tearing down and the moving and everything. But I said, I really enjoy, doing that part of it. And I said, I just like to be able to represent and make it nice for everybody to see and for the show. And I do appreciate, Wade and everyone who helps out with the shows, because it's a lot of work. I've helped my friend Al for years do a show in Detroit and Pittsburgh, and I know how much time and effort it takes to do that. And I appreciate Wade taking his time and all of his friends helping out and his family to even do this.
How long of a drive is it for you down here?
It's about 7 hours.
Wow.
To come down. And I like I said, I try to come every year. And it's awesome. If you've never been here before, you should take some time, and you're with any amount of hours of driving to come down and meet everyone and just to walk around. There's some amazing things that you see in this room every year, and it changes every year.
Well, and even in some cases changes every day. We had guys set up fancy racks and back displays for yesterday, and then they swapped them out today to show different stuff. They had the stuff they were selling, but but some of the guys completely swapped out what they were displaying. Wade, a couple other collectors, and it's cool that in a 24-hour period, if you were here yesterday, things look different for some of the stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and you have to spend an hour or 2 or 3 to even go around to talk to everybody and just to
easily
discuss the jerseys and the amount of knowledge here to go with the collecting is amazing. So it's great to talk to everybody and learn about. I mean, I've done this for quite a few years, but to learn from everybody on just different teams and how things work is fun also.
And you got a chance to talk with the guys from Rinkside Reserve today and showing some of the stuff you have of the Blues, because of course everybody knows you're the Turgeon guy, and was picking Nick from the Blues about that and just all those things. So it's those kind of connections and showing different things. We had our signers on for the last 2 days. One of them had played with Mark Reed's, so showing him, oh yeah, right behind you is Mark Reed's jersey when he played with them. I mean, just connecting some of those things, and you walk the room, and it's not. I mean, we're in St. Louis. There's a lot in here. You've got Blackhawks. You've got Tampa Bay. You've got some of the guys just have a mix of seems like every team. So regardless, if you go to an expo here, you go to an expo somewhere else, it's not guaranteed or probably won't be city focused. Some may be a little bit tighter than others, just depending on where you are. But guys buy other team stuff for certain reasons. You have a phenomenal mix of things, and it's cool to see how you do your setup with the goalie pads, with the helmet, the gold helmets that look like C-3PO should be standing over there. But you got in Friday early afternoon. We had the room already and starting guys coming in and getting set up. And it's just, as you're setting up, we're talking, oh, hey, what'd you bring? Or this thing, and just playing catch up. I mean, and all of us talk via Facebook Messenger or text or whatever all the time, but it's when you get face to face, you may start setting up and then sit down for an hour and just BS. And then we all went out to dinner and just got cut up on things. You got to go to the Blues game last night with Kevin, and because you made last year's game too, but getting to see Blues games in an area and teams that you might not normally get to see play.
Yeah, it's fun. And again, I encourage everybody, wherever you live, if you can go to a show, once you go one time, you're hooked.
Yep.
And it's amazing the friendships you make, but you're hooked. And whether you collect or just started collecting, you've been collecting for a long time. I mean, I wish it was next year already. I guess it's a sad day, today when we got to take everything down and we think, well, we're not going to maybe see some of our friends for another year. We might see other ones at other shows, but, we look forward to this every year. And like I said, just be part of the community and come out and support, or come out and even check it out one year. And then we have people that come and then set up the next year.
Oh yeah. And one of the gentlemen did that, who attended and now has a table. And we had a couple others. I was so wish I could have brought a table I had scheduled, but they at least still made it out to see everybody and check in and maybe buy some stuff. So what was the favorite thing you saw here?
Well, I mean, the favorite, it's hard to say. I mean, Doc, I mean, your collection's amazing. I mean, when you go through collector by collector, and visit and, talk to everybody, and you'll say, what did you get this year? Or what have you acquired? And they'll go through and talk to you about everything. And one question leads to the other. And you just learn so much, not about even the hobby. You learn tons about that in the jerseys, but also about the individuals and the people. And that's really the biggest part for me, what's exciting. But everything that you see is amazing, whether that's your favorite team or whether it's not. It doesn't matter, because it's still amazing things that you get to hold in your hand, to look at, to talk about, to say, when I was a kid, I'm holding the Minnesota North Stars jersey from the 80s. And I remember when I was in Buffalo with my father watching those green jerseys play, and to actually have one in front of you and say, wow, this is amazing to see it, 40 years later in my hands is
Sure.
amazing.
And even of course, looking to the back of the room as guys are packing some stuff up, is I'd not seen a Kraken jersey in person. There's a couple of them here, so it's neat to look at them and see some of the nuances or that. Because same thing, yeah, you're seeing it on TV or pictures, whatever, but getting them in front of you is a completely different thing because you can see the finer details in it. One of the things that got lucky with is the Blues did an auction the other day for some of the preseason guys. I bought one of the jerseys and it's the new Fanatics jersey. So a bunch of us have laid them out on tables next to the Adidas and compared some different things and looked at stuff. And we talked to the Blues about the upcoming season with theirs and what they're doing with set stamps and all this stuff. And when you get in the room, ideas come to your head or conversations because some person knows that, yeah, one team did this. Even when you were doing it like the rest of us is when the Blues brought their jerseys in to sell, we were pulling them out, looking at set stamps. I was going to my laptop for people, trying to find photo matches. We were on the fly researching stuff. So, and it's fun. It makes it so cool to be able to just do that. But even just going out to dinners and sitting at the bar, having a drink, just catching up. And it's all around the jersey stuff. And we had a lot of baseball this year. It's impressive to see other sports, and there was a lot of football stuff here too. I mean, some of the jerseys that showed up. I don't care anything about football, but being able to have a hockey jersey and a football jersey side by side, look at material and wear and stuff. Just those things are cool.
Yeah, and the other thing is when you make the connections with the other collectors, when you come across something or a question, you have a reference point to ask people to help you.
Yep.
That's really assists you a lot, especially, I deal with Vegas or Buffalo a lot. And then all of a sudden last night when they were wearing those beautiful jerseys,
The Blues Heritage.
Yeah,
Yep.
the Heritage jerseys, I said, wow, I'd really like to have one of those. So now when they go on auction or I have questions, I mean, I refer, obviously, I'll call Doc or call Wade or call somebody who lives here and they'll be able to fill me in. When were they worn and, when the auction might be and all of those finer details. So anytime you can make your connections and friendships, it really will help you no matter where you are. And then you can share that knowledge broadly with other people.
And you're spot on with that because we know what people are looking for. And I've helped you out with Turgeons in the past because who else am I going to tell? Immediately, I see it pop up, bang, you need to know about this Turgeon thing or whatever. And we posted the pictures of what the Blues had brought for us. We had people reach out and guys bought jerseys through, one of them sent me their credit card info, gave it to the team. Okay, it's paid off. I'll get it shipped to you. So we're helping guys off-site buy stuff here, seeing it in pictures and whatnot. But that's all part of it. And the guy was helping out. Oh, let me give you some money for bourbon or whatever. No, it's just I'm here. Of course I'll help you out. No big deal. I gotta ship stuff out your way anyway.
The amazing part is that we do that. We wouldn't even think about wanting to do that. We do it because we want to grow the hobby. We want to do it for other people that collect. Whether we met them in person, I've met so many wonderful people. I've never even met them in person that helped me with things. And, I'm so grateful. So when I can return that favor, I'm happy to do it.
Oh yeah. And that's, you've probably seen in the group, the Facebook pages or whatever, some of the comments from certain people, you hear a name and now you're putting the face with them. And the wide range collection you have is be able to look at the Vegas Cup jerseys or their Winter Classic, things like that, and getting close looks at them where otherwise you might not get to. But it just these events bring the community so well together, and you're gonna get all this stuff taken down today. You're gonna get all packed, make your long drive, and then you're gonna turn around and do it again in 3 weeks.
Yeah, we have the Detroit Expo, fourth annual one in Detroit at the airport is on Saturday, November 9th. If anybody's in the area wants to come down, it's on the Facebook page. Al Astorina runs a great show, and it's nearly sold out or close to it. But
for table wise, but still, just come up regardless.
Yeah, come up, and we always have room for one more table. We always say that we can always squeeze somebody in. But yeah, if you're anywhere in Detroit, there's a Red Wings game that night we're going to go to.
Nice. You're going to get the all-inclusive seats again?
Yeah. I hope so. But it's, anytime you can get to one of these events, it'll be fun. And we're looking forward to seeing a lot of people in the Detroit area that we haven't seen in a while. And so please come down. And if you have any questions, you can get on the website and give Al a call or contact me, but should be a good time on Saturday, November 9th.
So you're gonna leave things packed up easy so you can just grab it and go, or you gotta change it around, I guess, because you're in Detroit.
I try to change them around. I always like to do one or two tables of wherever I'm at, and change around some different things. So it's fun for me in the fact that to do different displays and everybody. I mean, it takes some time to put it together, but it's fun to do it. And it's fun to, if I have different friends from different areas coming, I might try to bring something that, if I had my St. Louis boys coming, I might bring some St. Louis stuff to make them feel at home. So anyway, it's fun. So when I get home, I got a week or two to kind of sort a few things out and
get your breath, realign, and get ready to go again.
Ready to go again.
But see, next year, and I'll rat out Wade because we had a vendor here who they got to talking about arena football and different things, and the guy had seen Wade play way back. So Wade actually ran home, got helmets and his game jerseys from when he played. Next year, you've got to bring a setup of your stuff.
Well, I told Wade, so I tossed the idea out. I think you heard me, Dad. I think that all the dealers that are here, or all the people that come and do tables, that we should bring one item.
If you played at some level or
whatever it is. I mean, you could be a professional golfer, you could be a high school golfer. If you want to bring your favorite hole-in-one golf ball.
Yep, I can bring one of the charity jerseys I got or something.
Yeah,
so
anything. Your high school jersey, a kid from, when you were a kid and played on a hockey team or whatever, and just make one table and put it up. It'd just be kind of fun because, you learn the background of people and you ask questions like, how did you get into hockey? And I would say my father was, big into hockey. And since I was born, I was always going to be involved in hockey or play hockey, or, that's how it kind of started, or my love for the game. So, those are the things you can discuss maybe through that opportunity.
Yeah, no. And we will remember that for next year, because all of us have played something and a lot of us have retained jerseys. So no, that's an awesome thing. And maybe we can push the other expos to do that as well. Is just, even if you just set whatever your jersey is or a piece of equipment, set it on the table as here's my piece. Cause, it's why are you in this? And talking to Dwight Schofield, or asked him how he got in. He was one of his dad's friends was starting to coach hockey and said, hey, why don't you guys come play? Had no ties to it before, and then he became an NHLer out of it. I mean, you don't know what backgrounds or why people like the things they do.
Yeah, and the fun part is to see all the old kids. I used to have Orbit skates.
Oh, wow.
And so people be like, Orbit skates. We used to go to Canada and get them. So, I bring them from when I was a kid and put them on a table. just to see some of those old things that you
and see how the equipment's changed.
See the evolution of the equipment and the jerseys. And it's amazing what jerseys we wore when we were kids compared to what kids get now. Is no comparison.
Oh, for sure. But Cliff, I hope you had a great weekend with the show. I know, we've been talking constantly, excited about getting together, and it's been fun to hang out with you. I'm hoping you had a great time with everything, made some deals, come home with some things. I know thanks to you, I'm coming home with some Vegas socks of all things, but I'm excited to have them and use them when I play. They're not anything grand, but they look badass. And My playing will look terrible, but the socks will at least look good. But again, you have a safe trip. I hope the Allen show is another great one here in a few weeks. I hope you guys get a great turnout. That's why we keep plugging everybody's shows. Is we're a big group. We want to make sure people get out, and if you attended this or saw info, go to Detroit. We've got the college geared-ish show coming here in April for the Frozen Four. Doesn't mean we can still not have a full room of NHL jerseys, but we're just doing it because of the Frozen Four. So people will bring different stuff, and we'll see some other guys, and it's already just around the corner. I mean, damn, we're halfway through October.
Yeah, time's going fast. So thanks, guys. We appreciate it. Thanks to everybody who put in time and effort to do this show, and please come out and support all the shows around the country, and we'll see you next year.
Sounds good, buddy. You have safe travels.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Look at that.
Perfect. Thanks, buddy.
You don't mind.
Of course. All right, Pete. So you've packed up the really old Hawks bags, and holy crap. This morning I got here way early. Wade got the door open and went and took some pictures of your stuff, as I've got a lot of Hawks friends, and sending them pictures. Just they're blown away of the stuff that you had. What were some of the highlights you brought?
Some of the highlights I brought that are really neat. And first of all, thank you for having me on. And,
of course.
It's always a pleasure to come down to St. Louis and visit with friends. And that's what I think the hobby's all about. Making friends and making small deals, big deals. It really doesn't matter.
Yeah, even if you didn't make one at all, just being here.
Just being here and, rekindling friendships are important in life. I did bring a Patrick Kane rookie second set, from the Hawks with the Wirtz patch. And
we know everybody in Detroit loves him now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he actually played in that jersey, played the last game, and they were pushing the Rookie of the Year for him on the NBC Game of the Week. That's why they throw the A on it.
Oh, of course.
And it was against Detroit, April 6th,
nice.
2008. So you can see that on YouTube if you want. Then I ended up bringing a New York Rangers 450th goal jersey. And
that was beautiful.
Yeah. And
but those Roniks too. I mean,
yes, a rookie Ronik in both a home and road 92 finals.
I mean, we're in St. Louis, but the number of people that gravitated toward those because of Hawks jersey, and those were the years when the Blues and Hawks were just button heads every year.
Every year, even through the 70s and 80s and 90s. It was definitely, especially like down around 95, 96, when things were really tough. I mean, a lot of tough guys on both teams.
Yeah, tons of.
You had Probert coming over to the Hawks. You got other hard-nosed guys for the Blues.
Yeah, Chase and Twist and all those just going head-to-head. And you knew if there was a Blues and Blackhawks game, no matter which, either in St. Louis or Chicago, there was going to be at least a few fights. It was just guaranteed.
Can't forget the Grim Reaper, too.
No, yes.
He was there, too. So,
an amazing guy.
A lot of heavyweight
for sure
that could do it.
So what was some of the favorite things that you saw wandering around the room today?
I saw a lot of unique things today. I mean, just from everywhere, very unique. Yeah, I don't get to see very many Las Vegas, Golden Knights stuff. And I saw a lot of things that were like interesting, great. One or two pieces.
Cliff was blinding us with those gold helmets, though, I think.
It was almost as many gold helmets as there would be on the ice.
Right.
Let's put it that way.
As he brings a Stasny into the camera right behind.
Yeah, and it's no Notre Dame. Let's put it that way. They're much better looking than that. So. But I can honestly say, I mean, there were some very nice pieces all the way around represented from almost all the teams, and variants.
Oh, for sure.
Really important. Because there's some regular season ones, then there's some variants and stuff like that. And which really, again, just make you like, wow, I can't believe I actually saw that. And I've seen, some vintage too that was really good.
Mm-hmm.
And great baseball, predominantly Cardinals. kind of a fan of Molina, the catcher that, is retired, and there's
Oh,
some
yeah.
stars there. So I got to think about how I'm going to swing that.
You said it won't burst into flames if you take it to Chicago?
I'm sorry.
I said the jersey won't burst into flames if you take it up to Chicago.
No, I'll probably be beat up, but beyond that, I'm going to live through it.
And then even there was a lot of football stuff.
Yeah.
A little surprised to see that.
Seen a lot of Rams practice jerseys, Kansas City practice jerseys, some actual game worn jerseys that were kind of unique. You don't see too many. Michael Strahan Giants jersey, and you don't see.
I saw something drop that on the table to take pictures. I'm like, wait, what the hell? I mean, just some of that stuff catches you off guard because, like, where did that come from?
Oh, and that's why, well, it's like we're not necessarily 100% hockey, and that's the whole thing. We're game worn expo.
Yep.
So you can bring other things. Could be love to see some soccer.
And
international or
well, and with the St. Louis Soccer Club now, I mean, how big they are. I don't know anything about their jersey program if they have one, but yeah, the designs of those are great. It would be awesome.
They're all unique, and they'll be made available to fans, and which is nice. I think St. Louis. I'll be honest with you. I think there's probably 3 teams or 2 teams for sure that are really take care of their fans.
Mm-hmm.
St. Louis is definitely one of them, and Tampa, and a little bit of Florida, and then a little bit of Carolina. They do fairly well. Other teams are in certain marketing programs, whether it's with Migrate or Fanatics, which is fine. You don't get a lot of access to a lot of jerseys that you want if you have a fan favorite. And then a lot of other teams don't know what they're doing with their jerseys. And I'll be honest with you, Minnesota and Chicago Blackhawks are number 1 on that list for not knowing what the hell they're doing.
Well, and Minnesota having the what looks like the change of Fanatics, I think pretty much all but confirmed now for this year. But yeah, Chicago, hopefully they figure out something. But I know talking to you and Sean and some other collectors, I can't imagine not having access to really anything.
They have jerseys from 2007 to date.
I
mean, I don't even know how to.
Yeah, and I will say, and we did see some of those today from the Blues, but those are top end guys. It's not 4th liners that they've just hold on to. I mean,
and nicely priced.
Yeah.
So affordable for everyone, and I think that's the whole thing. I think Toronto's got they have good leadership under their game worn management scenario. The only thing I don't really like about that is that you bastardize Matthews, and he's wearing a jersey every other game.
Yeah. And
that's kind of difficult.
Right. And then, because then you get to the point where you're trying to photo match, and you might be looking at a thread or things like that, where if because of his style of play, if he wore the normal amount, you would probably see some of them beat up pretty damn good.
Right. So again, I have disappointments, with Minnesota. My son went to school there, the way they treated you, and then Chicago, the way they're treating certain or everyone else in the market, kind of leads me to I'm kind of cutting back on what I'm doing with game worn stuff now. Not retiring or anything like that.
But just tightening up the focus a little bit.
I am tightening up the focus, and I'm down to core situations, which are they are expensive.
Sure.
And people are I can't believe you're asking that price. This is go find one.
Yep.
I'll give you an instance, a rookie Roenick, I asked a certain number, and I just kept getting pauses from the other potential buyer who has great interest and who is a viable buyer. But again, it's I'm not going to give away something that this is the only true rookie jersey, and it's matched to several photos and hockey cards and it's a unique jersey all the way around.
Sure. And we it was funny in some of the clips that we recorded previously is the one gentleman found the Blues fax sheet auction from 99 2000, and he brought over Milt and one other guy's program books from 2001 2002, and seeing what some of the pricing is. And you're right, same thing, is even some of the jerseys then were listed at like 11 or 1200 for huge name guys, but now you're going to add a zero to that if you were buying that today.
Even sometimes more. I even have better because I end up buying the 86-7 Bruin jerseys. And the deal was with the Bruins, if they don't make the finals, you get them. If they make the finals, you don't get them.
Jeez.
And we went to a game 7 and they lost, and I end up getting the jerseys and things like that. But I was offering Cam Neely's for $300.
Wow.
Ray Bork's for $750. Yeah.
And there was a Ray Bork. I don't remember what year it was, but Milt had a Bork hanging up.
I think it's like an 84.5 mesh.
But it's
Very
yeah,
nice
to hear those prices, God, I'd buy 10 Cam Neely's at $350. But
300. I tried to get my brother to buy one. He wouldn't buy it. It was his favorite
I bet you're still kicking him for that too.
Yeah.
But it's just, you look at the old stuff compared to the modern, and some of the pricing and what things sell for. And we see it. We can watch the auction pages for, I remember last year watching that signed Bedard jersey that was on the Blackhawks auction, and it was, God, 10 or 15,000. It wasn't even a game jersey. It was an authentic signed by him. And we've seen some ones with the Blues and other stuff where you see these weird pricing things, but when you have the team auctions that are being advertised at the games and other stuff, it's not just us game worn collectors anymore. It's all the fans of that player may also go, oh wait, I can buy that. And some of those just fans have deep pockets or don't know what the market value is.
There's a lot of ways to market the situation, again, through GiftSmart and things like that. And there was a Connor Bedard that was framed with a piece of netting and a first ticket and an autograph photo framed, went for $30,100. I don't know if it was a one game wonder or what the situation is. But then again, it's the cast of doubt that no one knows what it is, because you're not letting any jerseys out for others to compare to. And then you have no one that has knowledge of game used products, and you have outsourced individuals that are willing to help, but they're really, I honestly can say it's like, I think they have a certain criteria of selling, meaning that they'll sell to others before they open it to the general public. So they're really not fair.
Yeah.
And that's been my consensus for since the last convention, which was more than 5 years ago.
Wow. Well, and you saw some of that here when the Blues brought their stuff over, and we were going through them, researching them, and looking at how they're tagged and how they're marked. And there was a rookie Piran in there. No set tag, but on the fight strap, the date is written, the period is written, and the trainer wrote his name. We've seen those before. I own an Eric Johnson that looks like that. So we know that's a consistent documentation for what they were doing. And Piran and Eric Johnson were going through wearing a lot of one game or one period jerseys that they were probably auctioning off or do whatever, and they didn't end up getting sold initially. But even that documentation is helpful, because then you can narrow that stuff down. But like Sean and you and others have talked with that Bedard, the team should have, or the trainer or something, wrote somewhere on it, this game or this period, just so somebody knows what the hell it is.
I think that's consistent with a lot of like Chicago situations. I've seen, like, I like the way things are run in St. Louis, and then some in Tampa with the new equipment manager. But you really have to blame marketing and the equipment staff on what they're doing with certain things. And if you're not going to be open and truthful with buyers, you're not going to get the money that you want. Henceforth, like Minnesota, they gave away a lot of money.
Yes, they did.
Jerseys. And that was their decision. That was a corporate decision that was done because they had no one of experience in there. I certainly have the experience with 42 years of collecting, and especially Blackhawks.
Mm-hmm.
And I also, I'm a real estate broker and things like that. So I know about marketing. I know about, buying, selling, bidding, and how to move, certain items and things like that in a proper way. And there are going to be some product and some pieces that will sell for a fair price, and some you will pay a premium.
Sure.
Because they deserve it. But you cannot segregate all the rest of the fans and keep it to just collectors.
No,
you got to get it out there, and they don't have a marketing plan.
And for the amount of guys that come through any team, be it the Blackhawks, the Blues, or whatever, you've got all those jerseys sitting out there, and they may have come to camp and they've never played again. Well, their jerseys sitting in a closet somewhere, but one fan may like that guy or know that person, or, oh, that's my favorite number. I don't care who's on the back, but just all those things, it does them no good to sell. I mean, if you can make some money, it's better than no money. But run your program right. And we interviewed Nick, and I talked to him some afterwards, and I appreciated the fact that he spent a lot of time looking what other teams were doing and found, okay, I think this looked good, this doesn't. But he's also receptive from Wade and I when we say, hey, we've seen this sticker doesn't seem to work because if it falls off, you've got these problems and all this stuff. And he's been receptive. I mean, has he made all these changes or done this stuff because we said to? No, but he listens and understands. And there's other teams the same way. Nick said he's talked to guys from other teams that have come in and they're working on or modifying their program. Hey, what do you guys do? It's awesome to hear that that's being done. But then you have, again, like Chicago, being absolutely clueless. I don't get it. And you're right in the middle of it, but even being an outsider and talking to, I just don't get how they don't do anything.
Right. And you want to be an intuitive buyer.
Yes.
You want to know what you're buying, know what you're paying for. Doesn't matter if you're paying $500 or $5,000 for certain situations. But the problem is that you got to be open and truthful about what exactly the item is.
Yep.
But that, again, it falls upon the training staff and the head marketing person, which has game used or game worn knowledge, whether it's sticks, gloves, and other equipment, especially jerseys or goal pucks, things like that. So if you don't have that savvy or experience, especially, you're not going to ever, first of all, max out your profits, because ROI for a team is the most important thing.
Yep.
For collectors, for us, is to get the item that we really want.
And when we're told the item is X, that's really it.
Sure.
And going and we knocked Boston pretty heavy when they launched their program because of some of the pricing and some of the things they were doing. But I at least appreciated them and some other teams when they pulled out old stock from past years, especially when whoever's running the program wasn't there, and they lay it out as they don't either do a certificate or say we call it issued because we just don't know. I appreciate that they just even do that because they're upfront going, the price is set at X or it's an auction, but please understand it's been in storage. We don't know exactly when it was worn. And then you put it on the end person, but you've at least disclosed all that up front, and you're not selling something that then, okay, you told me it was worn in these 5 games and none of the wear marks match. And then you find out, oh, it was preseason only or whatever. And then you're pissed because you've spent a bunch of money going this direction and it's not that.
Yeah, I think it helps to be very much in a position as a seller to give as much information as possible without doubt.
Yes.
you will get a buyer to spend some very good money if it's presented properly and marketed properly. I could probably say that there's probably 5 NHL teams that do it, right? The rest either are with big marketing companies or trying to do it on their own because they believe they can do it better. But unfortunately, in recent, but years, like 5 or 6 years, I've seen a lot of teams not do it well.
Right. And you have to have the team has to have buy-in on doing it. The marketing people and the equipment guys have to be on the same page too. And we're talking to Nick, that relationship and how they work is phenomenal. And I said we appreciate that, and the fact that he shared those kind of stories with us, because the equipment guys know or should know, okay, what this stuff is. Yeah, they just got done wearing it and tracking it, and oh yeah, here's the 10 games, and they scan them and all that, and all that's there. But if the equipment guys are just throwing them a bag full of jerseys and go, hey, this is our set one, thanks. And,
well, I could even allude to like the Blackhawks equipment sale. There were items there that were more than 10 years old.
Why did they have them?
What's the point of the sale if you're not going to promote your newer players, your new team, because that's what it's there for, or even players from the last 5 years?
Sure.
Who are very fresh in Blackhawk fans' minds. They want to collect them, or any of the dynasty players will say they want to collect them. I know they have jerseys put away. And even before they even won a cup, they still have them from 2007. So what's the point of hoarding these things?
Right. And like the big one that we've seen blow up with every team now because of the changes. You had the Adidas training camp jerseys with names or numbers or just numbers. I get that they've hung on to those forever because you do use those over and over and it saves you money, but there's no reason to hoard the other stuff or the goalie gloves and blocker that you had and stuff and sit there for so long. I mean, when you hear, yeah, I got a hobby Bullen at a Blackhawk sale. Well, what year? This one. It blew me away to see what people were finding. It's like, Jesus, he's been gone there a long time.
Sure. And what's nice is that you mentioned the styles of jerseys that are in there, various from Reebok to the Reebok swoosh to Adidas to now Prime Green, now Fanatics. And the Blues today were nice enough to at least model the new Fanatic jersey, which I really like it. And it reminds me of the old Ultrafills.
Yep, I agree with you completely.
And they look very well put together, very handsome jerseys. And I kind of like where it's going. I'd like to see where every single one of the teams, like what their logos will look like and things like that. And
it was nice to put them side by side with the Adidas and look at the logos and feel the different things and compare. And I am impressed as well. It feels, and again, just by holding it, feels like the Fanatics is a tad bit heavier, which would make sense because of the way the shoulders and stuff are and the material change. I'm excited to see some once we start getting some wear on them.
I think so too. I think it'll be self-evident and stuff like that, as long as you don't bastardize, certain popular players, like, do like a lot of, one game wonders, things like that. Stop, keep your stock in check, meaning like have better quality control and inventory, secure inventory, how should we say, methods.
Yes.
So I see it it's going to go pretty well for everybody, but everyone has to have a system, and they are more concerned with selling $25 t-shirts and sodas and beers and things like that, which is part of the retail process. But they don't really pay attention to the game worn aspect, which has a great retail.
Yeah, and the revenue generated from that's going to be great.
Yeah, it always has been great.
But I just don't get why some teams,
they just don't care.
And it's not like they can't talk to others and see what things go. And we've got the great technology and the way a lot of teams are scanning barcodes and things like that to track on ice time or statistics now. So you get those sheets when you buy jerseys. That's just awesome, because I know we all like to research them, but now if some of the work's done, now I can just go to Getty or wherever and look at photo matching. I've already got the statistics and some of those done.
So I agree with you, because we are now in the digital world of everything, whether it's spending our money, we're going cashless.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no reason why we couldn't track jerseys, whether a player wears 2 jerseys a game because he wants a dry jersey and then come back to his first period jersey for the third period, that kind of thing, which happens all the time. But there's no reason why we can't do it. It's a point of like letting experienced people into the NHL to show them that's like, hey, this is the way it should be done. But it's not just marketing. You're not going to catch somebody fresh out of college with a marketing degree, and I don't care where they get it, and they know what game use.
There's not a minor in game use jerseys.
Absolutely not.
I kind of wish there were.
That goes for all sports, by the way. So
sure. And I know the MLB program. I was talking to Tyler from the Blues, who was here with us today too. He came from the East Coast working with an MLB team and their authentications program.
Correct. So
he knows how that works and the goods and the bads. And now he's over in the NHL and being able to apply a lot of what he knows. And like I said before, is having that, the ability to talk to Nick and those guys from the Blues about what we're seeing and what other teams we've seen do right and do wrong and adjust that. And you've reached out to the Hawks and other guys have reached out to other teams to offer their expertise. It's not like we're knocking on their door going, hey, pay me $50,000 and I'll do all this. We want to help because we want to make the availability and make these things show up out there the right way and not like you said, question what this jersey is it really what I was sold?
Yeah, I've even approached the Blues actually and drew up a marketing plan on how to do it before their current staff was even an idea.
Mm-hmm.
Because they had no idea on how to handle that, and then the trainers don't want the extra work.
Sure, they're busy enough as they are.
They have enough. They need to keep a professional team, well dressed, skate sharpened, equipment top notch. Make sure they get what they need for practice games or otherwise. You're on the road. It's not an easy job being a trainer, but again, you chose that job and you're going to work it for the 9 or 10 months. If you get to, really far into the playoffs.
Sure.
And that's part, you do get rewarded, as you move up through the playoffs and the entire team and where you end up. So I see a lot of people, maybe not happy with, again, I could only speak with the Blackhawks as I'm close to that situation on why things are hoarded. And why dynasty stuff isn't been made available to players or even players and the public.
Yeah. So, and I don't care if they were given, if guys get their 1,000th game or whatever it is, and the team's giving them that jersey. Great. That's where it should go every time.
They do it, or first goal or first win as a goalie, things like that. Things are monumental in somebody's career, which I think are proper. But again, they need to be everything needs to be accountable. So accountability is a big problem in the NHL with all trainers.
Yeah.
Just stating facts. I've seen it. I've talked to trainers over 40 years of my life. And there was good ones. There was not so good ones.
And now, again, with modern technology, the doing of the stuff seems to be easier. And a lot of teams realizing what important piece this is and bring in a guy to help those the equipment guys out to get it done right. And Yeah, we know. I mean, we were talking how some guys went through so many pairs of gloves or skates every season and all this kind of things. But one of those pairs of skates that he scored some big thing and may be just as important as the jersey he was wearing too.
Sure. Like,
And
Patrick Kane is an example of that, with the Blackhawks, like go through 60 pairs of gloves or more in a season, depending how deep the season went. That's a lot of gloves.
yeah. And when you get them, you're not finding a lot of wear if you're getting game worn ones because they're wearing them in practice too. And it's like, okay, is he wearing the same ones in practice that he then takes to the game that night or what? So even you've got to research all that to figure out.
They are numbered in a palm with marker, but there's no knowledge of like when they were worn. So Pittsburgh Penguins were the first one to come in and do the scan in and scan out of time worn on ice on each jersey. So every time a jersey came off the player's back, it was scanned and that was recorded, which is, kudos to them.
Oh yeah.
But also now the Blues are doing it and a few other teams are doing it, but I would say it's less than 10% that are doing it.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And I think it adds a legitimate aspect to the point of you get what you pay for. And if you have doubt in something that you pay for, you're not going to get the buyers that you want.
Right.
For those type items.
And down the road is, okay, you've bought this thing and it was documented this way. And then, it goes off to the side for a reason. Then you research it a year later. Well, then you're, okay, none of this lines up with what I was told. You can't give it back to the team in most cases, and selling it, then you have to document it with what you know now. And you may lose money on a deal because what you were sold isn't the truth.
Sure. And then with teams hoarding, there are teams that do hoard. St. Louis does hoard.
Yes. They are getting better. And we appreciate that.
They want to finally make room, which is good.
Yeah.
And they do depend on, let's say, certain St. Louis collectors who have knowledgeable history, not just staff. You got to remember, like, you're running a professional club. You don't have time to do marketing.
Right.
Your job is to take care of players, team, and make sure they get wins. And they're ready, and the team is ready to go because they have a coach that's ready to coach them to victory. And I don't blame them.
No, but Nick has really wanted to clear up a lot of the back stuff, and of course we did today, even when he brought things. But they know the ones they need to keep for archival purposes, the huge names, the Brett Hulls and some of the others, and we get that. But they're not going to over hoard them. Oh yeah, we've got 50 Hulls because we're going to keep 50. They have the important ones or whatever it is, and then the rest will get out to the community.
Yeah, there are milestone jerseys that should either stay with the team or go with the player.
Of course.
Like for instance, the New York Rangers, which are run by Fanatics, I was able to acquire Patrick Kane's 450th gold jersey. It's not a 500 gold jersey, but it's close enough. I'll unlikely ever see a 500 gold jersey from Patrick Kane, especially now with Detroit. No, probably will score it this year. Unfortunately, I would love to see him come back to Chicago and finish his career. I was told that was supposed to be the case, but that never materialized. So,
well, then if he comes back to Chicago, you'll never see a Kane jersey.
Pretty much. I mean, I haven't seen a Kane jersey since the last convention. I think it was 2018, 17, somewhere around there. It's kind of sad. So before COVID, that's for sure.
And it's, I mean, we talk so much about the positive side of the hobby and even try and shine positive light on some of that, but it's like at times teams get a clue, get this stuff out here. And I think, again, I'm not an expert of every team, but I think Chicago's the worst offender of anybody.
I'd have to agree with that. But again, You just have to have general knowledge and be consistent in what you're doing in your securing items that are truly the real deal, not practice worn, not practice used, or not just for charitable situations that are unused items.
Yes.
Which they do. They just want a sign stick that was taped and stuff like that, which is fine.
But but if you disclose it that way, fine. Or the Blues do it with the casino night is they wear a set of jerseys that on the set tag says casino night. So they play those in one game and then it gets auctioned or sold at that. Okay, thank you. You've disclosed when that jersey was worn. We know it was that game. That's all you need to do. It's not that difficult.
I think with disclosure, it's very important, and you'll see the return on investment on a dollar and cents wise will be much bigger than what you thought it was.
Yep.
And that takes a savvy person to head that in any professional sport marketing department for game worn, game used. Yes, there are situations where you need it. You need a certain jersey of a star player for charitable situations. I totally agree with that. And it should happen on a more regular basis. Give the opportunity to help a certain foundation, either for children or some disease or breast cancer, and things like that, which a lot of teams do now. But again, not everyone does it because they just feel like it's extra work for their marketing team and they don't really know how to present it.
Well, and like you said earlier, return on investment. Start calculating that. You'll realize what kind of return you're getting.
Well, they are a business. Every professional hockey, baseball, football, basketball, clubs, soccer clubs are businesses. Return on investment is the bottom line on everything.
But some teams seem to only care about the number of tickets or the number of hot dogs sold and none of the rest of it, or number of t-shirts sold.
True, but that's part of the return on investment and profits.
But start looking at this section that can percentage wise, really raise that up. You look at the actual cost and lettering of a jersey, call it $300 now ish. And what some of those could sell for. Your actual percentage for your cost is insane.
I think the cost of a game issued jersey is probably right around $500 to $600 right now.
Is it now? With the Fanatics? Okay.
Fanatics, and that used to be a little bit less, but not much less. I think the important thing is that everybody knows what they're getting into as buyers and teams as sellers, that you definitely have to have knowledge of what you're selling. Being transparent with disclosure is tremendous because it works in so many positive ways.
Sure.
And everybody wants a certain game jersey or item from a game that they took their child to their first NHL game. Said, hey, I got a stick from a certain player. I got the ticket stubs, things like that, which are fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not real big on electronic ticket stubs, but
a lot of people are very sad with that.
Paper ticket stubs, because something you could hold on to, frame and keep, and pass it down to your loved ones. And
oh, yeah.
And when your kids are 20, 30 years old, they realize like, wow, I was at that game.
We younger collectors with younger kids who start saying, back in my day, we actually had to hand them a piece of paper instead of showing our phone. Now go back to bed, Grandpa. But no, you're right. Things like that. And it's funny, more and more I run into fans or collectors that are looking for like you said, I was at that game, so I want this set. And I do some of that myself, but it's the disclosure gets that. And same way as when we buy jerseys, if we either get them from a team or we acquire them somewhere else, even though I've gotten story from somebody, I still go look at more pictures or look at other things because
Correct.
things have gotten missed.
Correct. And most people is like, eventually you buy a jersey from, say early 90s, it sits in your closet for 30 years, and then you want to sell it. And then you're like, I don't know anything about it.
Yep.
And that's when collectors and things like that come in. I've seen collectors really lowball players and fans for their items that are worth some money.
And that's unfortunate.
Kind of unfortunate because it just lends a bad name, and that kind of puts you in that spotlight of being a little bit shady.
Yeah.
And our whole premise as collectors is to preserve the hockey history that the NHL teams have neglected for decades, if not their entirety of their existence.
Yeah. Good point.
While they may have a few things, they do not have a jersey from every year. So let's say from 1926 or 1967 and going forward and so on. You need to make a preservation scenario. The Hall of Fame is nice, but they are overstocked with so much stuff they don't need. And it barely, your favorite team stuff will barely even see the light of day and be displayed.
Oh yeah. Just because it's not just for them. It's not just the NHL. You've got all the outlier other leagues and other things. And
international,
they got to fit all that in, and they don't have the room for it.
It's hockey. So again, there's a lot of ways of doing things. Yes, you need capital to keep those things in preservation and have preservationists paid properly to do the work right. But you also need space and time. And,
yep.
Let's say I'll put it, Disney World wasn't built like right away. It was built in sections every 10 years. They made new developments, new properties. It's the same thing with the Hockey Hall of Fame. I think they should do that too. And they should move to the outskirts of Toronto, not in the city, and build a grand museum. I'd love to see a grand museum built in Chicago. It's been talked about for more than a dozen years with no realization of any plan.
Get right on that, would you?
I unfortunately do not have that clout to tell anybody what to do and how to spend their millions. So, but would I help in something like that? Yes. I've done plenty of things in real estate, development, brokerage firms, commercial, marketing, in real estate.
And the Chicago area well.
Yes, I do.
So it's been a fantastic weekend with us, Pete, and you got in on Friday as well, and just be able to have drinks and have dinner and share the stories. And it's we could beat this to death. That's what really all this is. We've all gotten to know each other because of jerseys, but we had conversations way beyond hockey over the last 3 days, and it's just been amazing.
It's amazing because we make good friendships and relationships, and I really like to have other fans, and even if you're not collectors, come to these expos. Do not think it's just someplace to show off jerseys. It's a place where you make friends, you learn history of many teams, not just the host team. But I really ask people to try to make an effort and support your local expos in every city, no matter I've been to LA, San Jose, New Jersey, Atlantic City, Detroit, when they had a very nice expo. I've hosted 2 in Chicago, many in St. Louis here, and other places.
And we're trying. Wade and I are trying some outreach too, and trying to make it work. Of course, we got to go up the ladder of the people in at the Blues. But I was suggesting with Nick is I would like to have a few of us bring some jerseys and show them off at the arena to show fans where these are going and kind of, hey, the Blues aren't just hoarding those or you see them in the auction. We're collectors, and here's how we show them off. Here's what we have.
True, and I think that works very well. And there is a collector, Mitch Amaya out in San Jose, that is lending his collection to the San Jose Sharks, and comes in and changes it around and gives it a new motif of of what hockey was in the Bay Area, even from the 60s.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very unique and historical. He's very blessed to have such items. And I think that, teams can do it. They have this items to do it.
Yep. And if you don't know, reach out to collectors. Again, we're not going to ask for money or do anything. We want to help out because it's the things we know and it's fun, and be able to connect even more with our favorite NHL team makes it even cooler.
It's unique too. And, again, I enjoyed the sport, and in 2010, watching Chris Pronger grab the last puck of every game and either throw it in the garbage or put it in his personal collection. I like to ask him where those pucks are, and the mysterious game-winning goal from Patrick Kane has never surfaced.
Wow. Hopefully it didn't go in the garbage, but again, the players do some of that weird stuff, but those stories get out then, and then we try and.
But I think they're historical artifacts.
No, and 100% I agree. But it's the weird stuff that happens at the time, and nobody stops that, or nobody, they hear about the story, but nobody tries to find a way to get those things back.
True. I mean, they're all looking into it and things like that. And it's not just one team, it's other teams. Some players pick up, the last puck of the game and hold on to it as their personal memento. I get it. Some stuff belongs to the team, some stuff belongs to the player, some stuff belongs to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, 100%. Well, you have safe travels back to Chicago. It's been a fun weekend. I always enjoy hanging out with you and talking and catching up. And like I said, being a diehard Blues fan, still laying the hands across all your Hawk stuff, and just being able to look through that history, knowing I watched a lot of those games regardless of the team. So
yeah, we all had hockey heroes. Support hockey, support your heroes, old or new, and don't just make it about just grabbing something and holding on for dear life, because you have a certain player. At least become the type of collector that enjoys the player, enjoys the game. And it's a part of the game.
Yep. And you can't have it all.
No.
Be smart, as we've said in many. But
there's been jerseys that were missed by myself, missed by other players. All I can do is congratulate them on their finds, and move on.
Yep. I know my budget range for jerseys. If it's out of that, I'll help somebody else get it. So, well, thank you again. Safe travels, and we'll hopefully see you in the spring for the Frozen 4 one.
I will see what I can do if I can make it.
Thanks, buddy.
Thank you very much.
That was fun.
Is that good?